Izzy, I'll give you 3 clues as to where we're exploring this week.
And what are they, Ethan?
Okay, number 1, it's located in Southeast Asia.
Still not quite following
I know,
you?
that doesn't really narrow it down a lot. They've got lovely cherry blossom trees.
No, I still have no idea.
Have you ever heard of that thing behind you, Mount Fuji?
I have actually. I think I might have an idea. Is
Go
it
for
Japan?
It is Japan, yes, you're right.
Have you ever been?
No, I haven't, but I would absolutely love to visit. But luckily for us here on WhyGo, we explore the greatness of cultures all over the world right here in our studio.
So, Ethan, should we get on with the show?
Let's do it.
Hello and welcome to WhyGo, the show that allows you to discover places all over the world without moving an inch. I'm Izzy.
And I'm Ethan, and welcome to today's show. We're all super excited to show everyone all of the amazing things that we've discovered.
That's right, from food and culture to ancient traditions and popular entertainment.
We made sure we got some expert opinions on what's hot and what's not in the land of the rising sun.
We'll be taking a look at Japanese art, food and popular culture, both here in Japan and here in the UK.
We'll also learn about anime, shorinji kempo, and a tasty traditional Japanese dish. So I think it's fair to say, Izzy, we've got plenty in store for everyone today.
Indeed. So to kick off today's show, we're going to be looking at one of the most popular artistic styles in Japan, known as anime.
Now, anime became mainstream in Japan during the 60s and since then has blossomed all over the world. In fact, I could almost guarantee each and every one of you has come into contact or at least heard of an anime-style production in your lifetime.
So Ethan, what does anime actually look like?
Well, the cartoon characters usually have exaggerated features and eccentric hairstyles like mine. They're often set in magical or fantastical settings, so your imagination really is the limit when it comes to anime.
Interesting. Luckily for us, we have our very own anime expert who can tell us a little bit more about the art.
That's right. Today we have the talented Shola in the studio, who is an anime artist from Portsmouth. Shola, welcome.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good.
Thank you for joining us. So, as we mentioned in the intro there, anime is something that a lot of people probably heard of, but maybe not quite understand what it is. So what actually is anime? What makes it so exciting and so unique?
So anime is short for animation, but it grew from manga, and manga is the physical form of anime that comes in comic books and stuff in Japan. But it's such a distinct style, and there's so many different versions of anime at this point that it's starting to breach into Western culture even more.
Oh, so what inspired you to start anime? Was it a particular film, book or TV show?
Well, I've always been into cartoons since I was really, really little, and my friend showed me a show called Lucky Star, and that was the first anime I ever watched, and just seeing like these really colourful, happy little girls like just having a great time was awesome.
Do you have a favourite character?
Oh, my favourite character is from My Hero Academia. I do have a badge.
The plastic badges with hundreds of
And
them.
his name is Hitoshi Shinso. It's great. It's great.
So obviously we've seen in the last few years a massive advancement in technology, which means that making art is so much easier than ever. Has that been helped you? Because am I right in thinking you now kind of animate a lot of your animations as well?
Yeah. So until about a year ago, I was working on physical stuff in books with pens and paper. But the second I bought a graphics tablet, I was able to start animating the things that I was drawing. And it's just creeping into Western stuff all the time now. And so people are really, really able to get their art form out there and draw whatever they want. And it's really, really cool. It's really helped like so many people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I can tell that you really enjoy it. And we've got a little bit of a challenge for you today.
Exciting.
Yep.
Izzy, you can share the challenge.
Okay, so you have about 25 minutes, which is about to the end of the show, to draw myself and Ethan. Do you think you can do it?
I think so. I think I can
Confident.
actually
She's very
That would be
confident.
very
yeah.
embarrassing if she said no.
Yeah, exactly.
We'd have had awkward 3 minutes at the end when we went to look at it. So, Shola, you can go off.
Wicked.
Best of
Brilliant.
luck.
Thank you.
Here
I
I go.
wonder what she'll pick as
I'm
the
really
eccentric
curious to
features.
find out,
I'm
yeah.
wondering. Well, I guess we'll find out. I guess. Okay.
So there we go. Be sure to stay tuned until the end of the show to see the finished drawing.
Now, moving on, we all love a hot drink and a sweet treat. But have you ever wondered what it would be like to add cats into the mix?
I'm not sure I follow you on that one, Ethan.
Yeah, well, I did say cats, and cat cafes is what I'm talking about.
Cat what?
Yep, this craze initially started in Taiwan, but famously became popular all over East Asia in around 2005. Now, these days, you can find hundreds of cafes all over Japan, especially in the big cities like Tokyo.
Okay, now I'm interested. Can we go and visit one?
Well, luckily for us, we can. We went to visit one here in the UK to find out a little bit more about the furry feline craze and, more importantly, the benefits they can have both to the customers and the cats. Take a look at this.
So I opened Pause of Thought Cat Cafe because I actually lost my cat 2 years ago. I had him since I was 13 years old, so I found it really hard losing him. So I wanted to create a space where people could come together and share their memories and help each other through their pet bereavement. When I actually found out about cat cafes, I thought it was the perfect place to do that. But not only be able to cover pet bereavement, but also be able to help rescue centres and help with raising awareness for rescue cats. So we have 7 rescue cats here at Pause of Thought Cat Cafe. They are all rescues. We rescued the 4 sisters who we opened up with, which is Nala, Kiara, Zena and Lena. They have just turned 1. And we also rescued Luna, who was actually a cat that was brought to us by her owner when we had opened, and he asked if we could take her on. And we also have 2 brothers, Teddy Mercury, who we rescued back in November from Romania. So I do think that cat cafes are going to get more popular. I think that we're only the 2nd one in the south, so I can definitely see more and more coming up in the near future. But not necessarily just cat cafes. A lot of people say to me, why can't you open up a dog cafe or any other animal? So I think that it's a great way to help with rescue cats and rescue animals. So if it's going to help with raising awareness for any rescue animal, then I think it would be a really good thing if there was more to come. So I think we attract people who want to come here and talk about their pet bereavement because it's a safe place to do so, and they can share their memories. We have a remembrance wall so they can come and put their picture up of their cat so they can be remembered forever. It's also a place that students especially, obviously they can't keep pets probably where they are and they're missing their pets from home, so it's a place for them to come in and spend an hour playing with the cats or cuddling them, just to have that company that they probably don't get at the moment and miss from home. But also with the older generation, maybe they feel like they're too old to have pets anymore. So it gives them just an hour to come and have a cuddle and have some time with the cat to make up for not having one anymore. So it's not the easiest thing to look after 7 cats, but it's very entertaining and it's very rewarding. It's great to have the 7 cats that we've rescued and see what they were like when they came to us, to seeing them now, to see how far they've come within their health. So there's 5 of us in total here at Pause of Thought Cat Cafe, and we've all taken it in turns in fostering cats. So the cats just in the cafe aren't the only ones that we have actually rescued. We've also rescued more cats, and we actually foster them into our own homes, take care of them, and then actually rehome them. So we all play a part here at Pause of Thought in rescuing. We also think that the Cat Cafe is a great place for a bit of therapy, to take people away from their busy day-to-day lives. We have lots of regular customers that come to us just so they can take an hour out of their day to relax and have just an hour to not think about the things that they might be thinking about in their day-to-day lives, stressing about. We have lots of people that come in and say, you know, I've spent the whole hour here and I've not thought once about the thing that, you know, has been on my mind for the last week. So I think it's a great way for people just to come in and have that hour to themselves. And cats really do relax people. I think just even to watch a cat playing or sleeping can really make you feel content.
Well, that was an experience, to say the least.
I know, right? I really thought it was just an on-trend, but it actually seems to be doing a lot of good for everyone involved.
Exactly. Anyway, let's check in with Shola to see how she's getting on. Shola, how are things going?
Hello, hello.
Hello. Let's see what you've got so far.
Well, at the moment, I'm just finishing your arm, but we've got a full sketch going on already.
Oh, nice. A lot of detail in that
already.
Yeah.
Considering you've had, how long was that VT?
Oh,
About 5-ish minutes,
3.5 minutes, 4 minutes?
Yeah.
That's amazing, that. Well, I know which one I am.
Amazing.
The tall one.
How long does it normally take you to do a standard drawing of people?
Well, some things can take up to, well, over an hour, but a simple piece like this, not too long.
Oh, that's
I like the
good.
pose we're doing.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We recreate that now. It's like I'm trying to figure out about that. Yeah.
I think it's me doing the peace sign.
I don't know what I'm doing. I can't really tell. That is amazing though, because I'm
No, that
absolutely
is really
abysmal at drawing.
good.
But I think it's that is amazing that you've managed to do that in 4 minutes. So what will you do next? Will you start kind of touching up a
line
little
art's
bit?
the next thing, which is loads of fun.
Great. Well, best of luck.
Well, I can't wait to see the
I
finished
can only,
drawing.
that's going to be fantastic.
Exactly.
Now, I don't know about you, Izzy, but when I think of Japanese martial arts, I tend to think of the likes of sumo, karate, judo, or even ninjutsu.
I think that'd be a fair point to make, yeah.
Exactly. Well, it turns out, believe it or not, there's another one. It's actually the most popular of all martial arts in Japan, but for some very odd reason, barely gets any mention in the Western world.
Well, if that's the case, Ethan, I think we have a duty to our viewers to enlighten them on this martial art. What's it called?
Well, it's called Shorinji Kempo, and I agree, Izzy. That's why we've linked up with fourth Dan sensei Adrian Starr to find all the who, what, when, wheres, and hows of Shorinji. Take a look at this.
Shorinji Kempo was started by a Japanese martial artist called Doshin So. It was established in 1947. I started studying Shorinji Kempo in 1981 when I finished my A-levels and came down to Southampton to carry on studying. I had a lot of other martial arts before. I started with martial arts when I was about 8 years old. My father was very heavily into judo. So I started with judo, but then Bruce Lee kind of exploded onto the scene. So I became involved in other martial arts, and I tried a lot of other martial arts, including karate, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu and kung fu. But none of them really suited me. And when I came down to Southampton, I carried on looking and eventually found Shorinji Kempo. What made it different for me was that it actually worked. The full-time Honbu for Shorinji Kempo is in Todotsu, which is on the island of Shikoku. Shikoku is a small island off the southeast of the main island of Japan. And it was founded and established there in 1947. At the moment I teach in Hampshire. We have 4 venues, but 4 sites, but in 3 venues. I teach in Winchester at Peace Simmons College. I teach at a private school called the Gregg School in Southampton, and I teach here in the New Forest in Sway. When I first started, I wanted to become good at the martial arts. I wanted to be Bruce Lee. But I very quickly realised that in learning how to do Shorinji Kempo, that one of the best bits about Kempo is being able to teach other people. So now I really enjoy teaching other people, and we have a very diverse age range. The youngest person I teach is about 3 years old, and the oldest is coming up for his 70s. So I have a huge age spectrum and a huge range of abilities and genders. We have a website as well, so if they search on Shorinji Kempo, they'll find us. We're all over Hampshire. We're quite easy to find, and we've got a Facebook and Instagram presence as well. In Japan, Shorinji Kempo is a huge martial arts. It's very well known. It's a huge charitable organisation as well. So, for instance, in Indonesia alone, there's over 1 million practitioners. The spread of Shorinji Kempo in the Western world has actually been quite slow. It's well established where there's a Japanese community. For example, in America, on the East Coast and the West Coast, you'll find a large Shorinji Kempo presence. But in Northern Europe, there doesn't tend to have been that crossover because it is so traditionally Japanese. It's a lifetime study rather than instant gratification. And it's been slow in its growth, certainly in Northern Europe in my lifetime, but I am seeing movement. I am seeing a greater exposure through things like YouTube.
Well, all I can say is I don't think we're ready to take that professionally just yet.
No, it must take so much hard work and dedication just to get to that level, so fair plays to those guys.
Exactly. Now, that's not all we have from Adrian. After the break, we'll have him here in the studio with us to learn more about the man himself and his relationship with Japan.
And we're also going to be looking at one of the most popular dishes in Japan.
And of course, Shola will be here again. We'll see how she's getting on with the Massive. I hope she's doing quite well.
I think she is.
She's doing quite well so far.
I'm feeling really good
I
about
wondered
it.
how, but I am
see
really excited to see how it'll get on.
Me too.
So I think she's currently colouring it, but we'll see how she gets on. Don't go anywhere. We're back after the break. Welcome back. Now you may have noticed that we've changed location. That's because we're here in a traditional Japanese dojo to have a chat with Adrian, our 4th dan sensei in the martial art of Shorinji Kempo. Adrian, welcome.
Hello,
Hi
how
guys,
you
thank
doing?
you for joining us.
Good,
Very well,
thank
thank you.
Thank you.
So the first question I've got for you is I mentioned in the intro there that you're a 4th dan sensei. Can you explain for someone who might not know what a 4th dan, what that means?
Dan grade levels are awarded to black belts, so there is a primary syllabus that you pass through, you then attain black belt. At that level, you then attain different levels of black belt. The best way to think of it, if an undergraduate is 1st dan, a master's is 2nd dan, and a PhD is 3rd dan. So you're going up as you go up through Dan grades.
That's a good way to think of it, actually.
So Shorinji Kempo's played such a big part in your life. What inspired you to start it?
My dad was, he practiced judo when I was little, so I can't really remember a time as a child where there wasn't a judo uniform drying somewhere in the house. So I tried it when I was 8 years old, but I wasn't a very big child, and 11-year-old children used to sit on me, so I didn't like it. So I then went on and tried lots more, and eventually, when I came down to Southampton University, when I was 18 years old, I found Shorinji Kempo.
Because it's non-contact, is that right? It's Shorinji Kempo?
No, it's semi-contact. We do full contact, but we only do that with body armour, because we're striking for things like nerve points, and if you do that, you'll hospitalise somebody really quickly.
Yeah. So obviously something Shorinji Kempo is traditionally Japanese, and you've spent a lot of time in Japan, and, and you said that you absolutely love it. What is it about Japan that just gives you that buzz? What do you love about it so much?
It's so different. There is no common reference point. You don't understand the language, you don't speak the language. There's no commonality between East and West, and it's the little differences that make it so different and interesting. It's that, I mean, travel broadens the mind anyway, and when you're immersed in such a different culture, it's a real revelation.
So what's been your favourite experience about travelling around Japan? Is there a particular
have you got any funny little stories?
I've got lots of funny stories, some of which aren't repeatable. I once handled £1 million samurai sword. I was handed £1 million blade, and they made me put white gloves on to touch it, and I handed this thing back to them, and they went, by the way, that was £1 million worth.
Put that down back quickly, didn't you?
Yeah, it was also very sharp.
Yeah. So what about places? Because obviously Japan is such an interesting place. There's so many different, you've got the cities, the rural areas. Have you got one specific place that if you could only ever go back to, you'd pick?
It would be Kyoto. Kyoto is truly beautiful. It's set in a valley, and the local government wouldn't let any of the buildings be built over 2 stories. So it has a perfect view from wherever you are in the town. And then it's got waterways. You can cycle everywhere. There's 100 temples within the town. You can cycle everywhere, and then the cherry blossoms come out, and it's truly, truly gorgeous.
Wow, I'd really love to go.
Well, that's all we have time for you today, but thank you very much for joining us.
No problem.
It's really fascinating, honestly. Thank
really
you very
interesting.
much. Now, if you've been inspired by what you've learned about Shorinji Kempo, be sure to check out Adrian's website, shorinjikempo.org.uk, or alternatively, be sure to give them a follow on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube using the links at the bottom of your screen now.
Moving on, don't forget we've also got Shola with us in the building today, and she's currently midway through her anime piece, so should we see how she's getting on?
Let's take a look. Shola, how are things going?
Things are going very well. I'm just finishing off the lining on your hair.
Great, I bet that's a challenge. Oh wow.
Oh, she's even got
She's
the
done her
light
hair
hairs.
right. That's amazing. That's
So much detail already.
Again, in about 4 or 5 minutes, that's
Yeah.
just completely changed.
She's a little whiz on
Oh,
this.
that's fascinating to watch how it's done. Very easy. Is it something that has always come naturally to you, being able to draw?
Yeah, I've been drawing for absolutely years, and I absolutely love it. I think I wouldn't do anything else.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That
I mean,
is
I have to ask, what colour are you going to colour my hair? Because this is debate as to what colour my hair is.
It's like a brownish ginger, which is quite a
It is a brownish ginger.
choice.
Brownish ginger.
Yeah, I think she's got
I
that.
can accept that. Auburn.
Yeah, I think she's got
Auburn?
that right.
Let's go with an Auburn.
Northern.
Oh, best of luck. We'll see how she gets
Well, I
on.
can't wait to see the finished
Auburn,
piece.
that's going to be fantastic.
So we are back in the studio, and I think it's time we talked about food.
Yes, it's been too long. I'm starving.
Same here.
Now, when it comes to Japanese food, I tend to think of sushi and miso soup.
Yeah, me too, but luckily we found somebody who widened our knowledge of the Japanese cuisine.
That's right, I managed to get in contact with Aki, a member of the University of Portsmouth Japanese Society, and she taught me how to make something called okonomiyaki, which I had absolutely no idea about before I met her.
Hold on a minute, she let you cook?
I know, I was a bit surprised as well, to be fair.
Well, I can't wait to see how this goes.
No, me. Run the VT. One of the things that Japan is most famous for is, of course, its unique food. So what better way to experience the true culture of Japan than getting my hands dirty and cooking some traditional Japanese food. I've come to meet Aki, and she's going to teach me how to make one of Japan's most popular dishes. Konnichiwa, hello, thank you very much. Okay, so as I said, we're going to be making one of Japan's most popular dishes. Aki, thank you for having me first of all. Second, what is it that we're actually going to be making? What's it called?
We're going to be making okonomiyaki.
Okonomiyaki. And this is from southern Japan mainly?
It's the southern part of Japan, mainly in the Osaka area.
Okay.
But it's popular everywhere.
So everyone love it. And
yeah.
This would probably be something for lunchtime.
Yeah, lunchtime, morning, afternoon, anytime you want.
So whereas we'd have a sandwich,
yeah,
you
it's like
probably
a
have
snack.
this.
Yeah.
Great. And it's really easy to make. So what have we got here? We've got flour,
pork belly,
nice and
yeah,
thin, eggs
and
and
cabbage.
Yeah. So that's all we need. You don't need anything else. No salt,
Yeah,
nothing. A little bit of oil.
And a little bit of oil. Yeah, I just have the sauce.
And we'll get to that a little bit later on. Where do we start? What's the first thing
So
we need to do?
I'm just going to chuck like 100 milliliters of water.
Into the jug.
Yeah, 100 of flour.
I'll try and do the egg. Let's see if I can do it without getting a shell in. That's always the challenging thing. Right, so here we go. Wish me luck.
Good luck.
As long as there's no shell, we can cope. Happy days. So literally just mixing it all up into like a little batter thing. So it's going to be like a little pancake / omelette thing.
It is.
So this is something that anyone can make really. It's not particularly difficult and it's not that expensive either,
It's
am I right?
not at all.
How much do you reckon it costs roughly to make out of all these ingredients?
I mean, you can buy a kilo of flour for £1, so
Yeah.
the most expensive thing is just the meat.
Yeah. So are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's head over to the fry. We've put an egg in. Is this how you do it in Japan, or
They
do you
normally
just
use like
a little brush?
yeah,
you
like a
said?
brush, and they just
So tiny bits of oil.
yeah, tiny brush.
So it is literally just like making a pancake. It looks like a pancake, as you can see from there, but we've got that Japanese twist, which is the fact that it's easy to make and it costs so little. That's when do we add the
I'm just gonna
everything
add it
else?
right now.
So again, you are literally just chucking them in. Should we put
Yeah,
it,
just
putting it
chuck
all in?
it.
Okay, so we're all done.
Yeah.
Finished. We're ready to plate it up. And so what is it you're adding now?
This is a Japanese brown sauce sort of thingy, but you can add sauce and mayonnaise, any other sauces you like. It's just savoury stuff. And this is like seaweed powder. And
I'm really looking forward to this. I'm normally quite fussy, but we'll see how we go. How hot?
It's hot.
It's really nice. I'm really quite surprised how it's kind of like an omelette mixed with a cake, mixed with a pancake.
Yeah.
Aki, thank you very much for making,
you.
what was it called one more time?
Okonomiyaki.
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 So be sure to make this, it's absolutely delicious. Really cheap, really easy, definitely worth doing it. Aki, thank you very much for having me, thank you very much for cooking for me, and it's back to the studio.
All right, credit where it's due, but it actually looks really tasty. I wish I had some.
I know, it was quite nice. I'm surprised I actually did it as well as I did. Well, today's show has flown by and we've covered a lot, to be fair. We visited the Cat Cafe, we met Adrian to learn about the martial art of Shorinji Kempo, and also Aki taught me how to make an okonomiyaki, which was interesting. And let's not forget, of course, our anime expert, Shola. In fact, I think it's time for us to join us back in the studio for us to see her masterpiece.
Yeah, let's have a look at the finished drawing.
Let's take a look. Drum roll, please.
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
So much colour as well. You've even done every single little bit of detail.
Oh, I can't get over that.
She's got your hair right, definitely.
Definitely got it right. Perfect colour.
Oh.
Perfect colour.
Oh, I'm glad you guys like it.
That's cute
No,
little
it's
pose
brilliant.
there too.
Thank you.
That's absolutely fantastic. I can't get over that. Honestly, I'm abysmal at drawing, so it is amazing to
That
me.
is brilliant.
Charlotte, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Very, very grateful.
Thank you. So unfortunately that is all we have time for on today's show, but we hope you've enjoyed the show as much as we have.
Yeah, it's been a blast. What a lovely ending.
I know. However, we're going to have to discuss who gets to take the drawing home. Ethan.
Well, luckily for us, it's digital now,
Oh, that's
so we don't
true.
have to copy and
Just
paste
put it on a memory stick.
But there we are. Anyway, so what was your best bit for today?
I'd have to say probably the Cat Cafe. I think it's amazing how they can bring people together. And what about you?
Well, for me, it was definitely talking to Adrian about Shrinji Kempo. Who would have thought it was the most popular martial art in Japan? I think it's amazing. I think the work that he does is absolutely fantastic. Now, if you want to find out any more about today's show, then head over to @WhyGo Japan on Twitter, Facebook or Instagram, where you can also find all of our contributors like Adrian and Shola as well.
Or even send us photos of your anime drawings, or maybe even your best attempt of making okonomiyaki.
Thank you so much for tuning in to WhyGo. Until next time, bye-bye.